So how do we turn this thing into mathematics or symbols? Okay, every time someone asks you what is instantaneous velocity, would you write all this? No. It's a very nice way to write. Okay. Now this idea gets closer and closer to is called limit. What is it called? Limit. Okay. And it's purely a mathematical term. Okay. Short form or the symbol to write limit is LIM. We write it as LIM. And then we write underneath that, below that we write something like this. What this means is exactly what this sentence is telling you. When you write limit delta t tends to 0, what that means is as delta t gets closer and closer to 0. This is red F. How do you read it? You read it as limit delta t tends to 0. Okay, when I say something like this, you understand I am talking about this thing. Okay, limit delta t tends to 0. Tends means going closer and closer. That's what this means. Right? Limit delta t tends to 0. In that case, in this situation, when delta t tends to 0, or getting closer and closer to 0, in that situation, if you find delta x by delta t, with this condition, limit delta t tends to 0, in that situation, if you find delta x by delta t, then whatever you get, that is called velocity. This is the formula of velocity. But you remember it, of course, but to solve numericals, we don't use this formula directly. This is just telling you the meaning of what is velocity or the definition. Right? Limit delta t tends to 0, delta x by delta t is velocity. Again, velocity means which velocity? Instantaneous. Alright? Velocity means instantaneous velocity. That is, as delta t gets smaller and smaller and smaller, that it goes closer and closer to 0. The ratio delta x by delta t, that is small displacement of course divided by small time interval, that would give you velocity. Right? This is what is velocity. See, velocity is not displacement upon time interval, it is not distance upon time, it is nothing else. There is only one correct meaning of velocity, and that meaning is this. Alright, whatever you have learned it earlier in 9th, probably you could be remembering it, but those are not the correct meanings of velocity. In 9th standard, obviously nobody would understand things like limit and all that. So that's why you were presented a basic version. Now this is the exact. Understood? So if someone says what is velocity, please don't say distance upon time. Okay? Please don't say distance upon time. Don't say displacement upon time also. That is also wrong. Okay? Is it clear? Then how to say it in words? That will come a little bit later. Okay, we are going to that. Now, before we proceed, I want you to understand another mathematical term. Infinitesimal. Okay, it's not infinite, it's infinitesimal or infinite symbol. Alright, there's this word, don't ignore this symbol. Okay, infinite symbol, what does that mean? It means whenever some quantity tends to 0, whenever some quantity, that is here delta t, tends to 0, then we say that time interval means what? Delta t is infinitesimal. Did you understand the meaning of this sentence? Whenever some quantity is very small or going closer and closer to 0, we say that this quantity is infinite or infinite. Understood? Okay, so infinitesimal basically means as small as you can think. Is 0.1 infinitesimal? No. Is 0.01 infinitesimal? No. Is 0.001 infinitesimal? No. How many zeros can you put before it becomes infinitesimal? There is no end to it. You can continue doing like that, only then it will become infinitesimal. Understood? Clear or not clear? Sure. So you should be able to remember this meaning. Now, for infinitesimal quantities, listen to this here. or infinitesimal quantities, in mathematics there is another shorthand, that is, instead of writing all this, we write just dt. If you write dt, it is understood that you are talking about this. Okay? This and writing this means the same thing. Did you understand? These two things mean the same. Okay? This and this are equal. Okay? They mean the same. Understood? Why D only? Z, T, X, T, B, T. D actually stands for change. You remember delta? Yes. Delta is a change, yes or no? Yes. But if someone writes delta T means any kind of change. Change of time interval. But if you want to represent very small or infinitesimal changes, then you don't use delta, you use D. So dt means infinitesimal change in time. Similarly, if someone will write dx, then what would it mean? Infinitesimal change in position value. Understood? Yes. Sure? Yes. Okay. Similarly, dm means infinitesimal change in mass. For example, in this mass, dm means infinitesimal change in mass. Meaning clear? Yes. Okay. So now, what happens is that if you allow a very small, means infinitesimal time interval, obviously this denominator is infinitesimal, but think about it, in a very short time, how much can an object move? Can the object move a lot? In a very short time, how much can an object move? It can move very little, obviously. Correct or not? Yes. Yes or no? Yes. So basically I am saying that if delta t tends to 0, means delta t is approaching 0, then delta x should also approach 0. Make sense? Yes. Yes or no? Yes. Right? If time interval is as small as possible, then displacement is also going to be very small. Okay. So in this case, what is infinitesimal? Is time interval infinitesimal? Yes. Is displacement infinitesimal? Yes. So that's why the final formula of velocity is this. Final formula of velocity is dx by dt. How did I get dx? I am saying delta x. Actually it was delta x. But delta x, you can write it for any kind of change. But here we are talking about which kind of change? Infinitesimal. This kind of change. So it is better to write dx direct. Similarly, delta t we can write, but tends to 0. So we are writing dt. So once you write dx and dt, you don't need to use this symbol. It is understood. Then you are obviously talking about this kind of case. That's why you are using infinitesimal symbols. Did you understand? Okay. So when you write dx, infinitesimal change in position or displacement. Infinitesimal time interval. Yes, love. What's your?
Sir, in this formula is velocity formula, that final bracket is not.
No. Because this is not average. Why did we have triangular bracket in an earlier formula? Because we are finding average velocity. Okay, the triangular brackets are indicating average. Here, there is no time interval or no big time interval, so we are finding at some time. So it is not average velocity; it is instance. That's why there is no triangular bracket. Understood? So what is the symbol of velocity? It is just this v vector, because it's a vector. Understood? V vector, because it is a vector. So this is the one and only formula of velocity that works every time. V vector equal to dx by dt. How to write it in words? Okay. If someone would ask what the definition of velocity, what would you write? Shall I erase what's on the left side? Yes. Okay. The rate of change of position with respect to time at any instant is called instantaneous velocity at that time. So, what do you think of rate of change? Rate means division of change of position with respect to time. But this not over a time interval, at a particular instant. That's why we have to take infinite Siemens. So instead of writing delta, we'll write d. Similarly, here also instead of writing delta, we'll write d. So dx by dt. Okay, this is what the definition is telling. Rate of change of position and change of time, or with respect to the change of time. Now, in mathematics, doing this, writing something like dx by dt is called differentiation or derivative. You might not have liked it, but there is no choice. Physics समझो से तो 12th standard નું maths સમજવું પડશે. Okay, એના વગર આગળ નહીં જઈ શકે. We will be stuck to 9th standard. Right? I know it's a little bit unfortunate for everyone. Okay, but there's no choice. Maths નથી તો એ maths છે. Right? Yes or no? You are not studying maths as a subject, but physics unfortunately includes lots of math. In fact, this was a problem even for the people, the students in the other class, because this is something that they are going to study in 12th. But we cannot wait. एक वर्ष physics no भणो પછી ચાલુ કરે. No. So even they had to learn it upfront. Okay, and you will also have to do it. Right? So that way everybody is equal here. Okay. So what is differentiation? This thing, this kind of dx by dt, that kind of symbols, that's called differentiation. So in words we say it as differentiation of position. Position means x. With w for with respect to, with respect to wrt. Is that okay or not okay?
Yes.
With respect to. Writing like this is not compulsory, but I am feeling lazy. Alright? So you can write it whichever way you want. Differentiation of position, that is x, with respect to time. Time, that is what? T. Is called instantaneous velocity. So these are two meanings of the word velocity. Whichever you want, you can choose. Both tell you the same thing. Okay? Both tell you the same thing. Differentiation of position with respect to time means dx by dt. X by t, like that. Okay. Even after all this, I have not answered the question. How to find it? We are only talking about how to write it, what is its meaning, but we are not figuring out how to find it. Right? Okay. So now, to find it, you need to do this process. See, differentiation is a kind of a process, basically. Like squaring. If someone gives you 3 and asks you to square it, what would be the final output? 9. Yes or no?
Yes.
Easy to understand?
Yes.
Everyone got there?
Yes.
It would take differentiation. It's a kind of a process. Now that process follows certain rules or formula. Okay, again, I will not be able to go through why we have these kind of rules, obviously. If you are curious, most welcome to join the math class. Alright, okay with you, if you are curious about that. Okay, so you go to math mouse. Right? So here I will just put a list of the rules and you'll have to remember them. Alright, but I assure you that I'll try to give the best or the simplest explanation possible so that it helps you with remembering. Is it possible to understand everything without remembering them? No. Your understanding cannot be perfect because mathematics will always play a role. Equations આવશે, formulas આવશે, એ બધામાં બધું કરવું. There is no escaping that fact. In fact, આના પછીના એક્ઝામ્પલમાં પૂરશે if you don't learn difference. Alright? So here we go. Love rules for differentiation. Can you turn on this time? Yes. I did not pay you for it. Number. तो मने खबर पड़े 1 2 3 4 कई अल्फाबेट थोड़ा क्या है ओके so let's put the first alphabet 1 alright बराबर है so what's the first rule? It is d by dx x raised to s is equal to n x raised to n minus 1 if n is not 0. Okay, you can do this in every case n is not 0. Okay, let me give you an example. Suppose someone says do differentiation of x cube with respect to x. Do differentiation of x with respect to time t. If they do differentiation of x cube with respect to x, then compare these two. It is an example. Everyone, a formula there. All right. Follow. Compare them. What is n? 3. Yes or no?
Yes.
How easy is it? खाली જોવાનું છે. Just look at this, look at this. What is n? 3. Very easy. So on right side also we will put n equal to 3. Very well applicable. So first of all 3 x raised to 3 minus 1. Understood?
Yes.
Sure?
Yes.
So 3x squared. Is that okay or not okay?
Yes.
So if someone says what is dx cubed by dx, then it is 3x squared. પણ આ ગોપણ નથી. યાદ આ રાખો. Okay, use that everywhere. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, let's take one more example so that you get a little bit comfortable with all these. Suppose it's this. Instead of x, it's t every day. Pattern does not change. So what should I write? 4 t x t. Okay, raised to 4 minus 1. So this is going to be 4 t cubed. Understood?
Yes.
These are learning fast. Okay or not okay?
Yes.
Right? Okay. Try this now. Okay, now do it without my help or anybody's help. Done?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Raise your hand when you're done. Okay, very good. Alright. Yes, what's your answer?
So 7.
Louder, louder.
7t raised to 6. 7t raised to 6.
This doesn't have t.
Correct.
X.
X.
So 7,
7x.
7,
X.
x
6.
raised to 6. Is that okay or not okay? 7x raised to 6. Sit down. Well done. Anyone having query about this? Any questions? Now, this is something that again I'm asking you to remember at least at the moment. Right? If after a couple of days I think that you are feeling comfortable with all these, then I might give you a little bit of idea on how we get something like that. Okay. Again, not the exact proof because if you want to get the exact proof, we'll have to cover a lot of math. Aapko chapter થઈ જશે એક math માટે prove કરતા. Right? Okay, so we don't want to do that. Okay, it's fine. But I can still give you some basic ideas later. Okay. Next. addition subtraction rule. બધી જગ્યાએ આપણે સાથે જ હતી. Addition subtraction. Nature hasn't really made them separate. It is us humans that have set positive and negative. Okay, addition and subtraction. So suppose you want to do differentiation of something of this type, u plus v. Plus सीखी जाओ, minus and not. Okay, if you want to do something of this type, differentiation of u plus v with respect to x, then that will be equal to, very easy, separately differentiate them and put whatever sign is there in middle. Did you understand?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, again let's understand this rule by an example. So suppose you want to do differentiation of this. So what should I write? Compare this. What is that u's place?
X
X squared. What is that v's place?
X squared.
So d by dx, and what should I write at u's place?
X squared.
Understood?
Yes.
Now you tell me what I should write next.
Plus
dx Understood?
Yes.
Now using the first rule, can you find the answer to this now? Do it using this rule. Raise your hand when you are done. Okay. Yes, Mantra, what's your answer?
2x plus 3x square.
2x plus 3x square, he says. Who agrees? Who disagrees? Who disagrees? Sit down. Correct answer. Well done. See, first of all, everyone, I still explain it. Compare. What is the n's place? 2. Yes or no?
Yes.
Don't look at this, huh? Just look at the first one. 2. So 2x raised to 2 minus 1 plus. Now the second one. So now don't look at this. 3.
X raised to minus.
Understood?
Yes.
Sure?
Yes.
Now if you don't want to, kind of do it by the formula, I can also tell you a very simple procedure like way. Like that. Okay? Yeah, really like that. See, look at this. Okay, ignore this for a while. Just look at this. Put the power down here. Is that okay or not okay? Clear?
Yes.
2 is over here, bring it down. So 2. And then decrease that power by 1. Decrease by 1 means so if it is 2, then make it 1. X raised to 1 is same as x. I hope that's it.
Yes.
Just like that, right here you must see what it is. First of all, 3. So 3 here. And then this power is 3. Decrease it by 1, it becomes 2. Understood?
Yes.
Easy to do?
Yes.
Sure?
Yes.
Clear or not clear?
Yes.
Out anyway, out. Fine. So that's the addition rule. If it was minus here, then it would be minus here. Simple. Got there?
Yes.
This is not error, huh? Please. Every time you see plus or minus doesn't mean it is error. What I mean is, in one formula we are writing 2. That if it's minus here, then you also use minus here. If it's plus here, then you use plus. Well, I'm not loving that. Everyone will agree with that. I know. Okay or not okay?
Yes.
So if it's plus, put plus. If it's minus, put minus. Easy. Fine. Some of you might have also thought, sir, this d by dx is multiplied inside. It's not like that. Okay? This is not like a number which you can multiply. And yeah, please, I forgot to tell you. How was your adventure करता है? પછી તો એવું કરતો તો આગળ જતા તમે ખબર નહીં શું કરી નાખશો. sin x upon 6 equal to n. But wait, give them, good. આવું નહીં કરો ને. Sure? third one. Rule number 6. Multiplication rule, not division. Okay? Multiplication rule only. Division rule is totally different. Okay. So if you want to do differentiation of u into v, so they are in multiplication, say that is equal to, now how to do it? See, first of all, there are two things here. Even if there are more, it's okay. You just have to do differentiation of one and then write the others just like that. So du by dx, did you understand?
Yes.
Differentiation of one. And the other ones just multiply it normally like you would multiply later. That is v into du by dx. Did you get that? Then put a plus sign compulsory. Over here the formula has plus. This was into. This is plus. Don't put into it. Clear? Now do reverse. That is, here you do differentiation of u. Now you have to do differentiation of the other one. What is the other one? V is here. So dv by dx and then multiply with u. Understood?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So that's how here. Alright?
Yes.
Okay. Now I can give you an example, but frankly the example is not very elegant, or you might also say, sir, we can do it in another way also. But no problem, I just want to demonstrate how to use it. For example, we want to do differentiation of x cube into x square. Let's say. You want to do differentiation of x cube into x square. So what is that u's place, what is that v's place? U x cube and v is x square. Okay or not okay?
Yes.
Use it. So first of all, just do differentiation of u and then multiply v just like that. Clear or not? First term clear to you?
Yes.
Sure?
Yes.
Now what to do? Put a plus sign. That's in the format. Now d by dx of x square and then x cube just like that, right? Take this part there. That's how you do it. What is see what we get here now? This is x squared. Dx cube by dx, we have just done it here. 3x squared. Yes or no?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Plus x cube dx by dx 2x. Okay. Okay or not okay? 2x.
Yes,
Why 2x again? Use that procedure I told you. Put the power down 2. And then decrease the power by 1. So 2 will become 1. Understood?
Yes.
Okay. Multiply that out and then 3 into x raised to x squared means x raised to 4 plus 2 into x raised to 4. Understood?
Yes.
So how much is this?
5.
How much is it?
5.
5x raised to 4. 4. No, 3 9. 4 then 3 can. 8 क्या था? 8 क्या था? 8 क्या थे? Why 8? We're talking about this. How do you play this? Powers cannot be added if you add 6. Okay, it can only be done if it is multiplication. For example, x raised to 7 into x raised to 9 is x raised to 16. But x raised to 7 plus x raised to 9 is not x raised to 6. Understood? Okay. याद रखते हो भाई? Mistake not that. Be careful. And everyone else. Well, so this is 5x raised to 4. Can't we do it directly? Of course. But enough. Verify. X cube into x square is x raised to 5. Yes or no?
Yes.
Sure?
Yes.
How was that? Added and multiplied. So how much is the differentiation of this? What to do? Put the 5 down, right?
Yes.
So what should I write? 5.
5.
X raised to 5 minus 1, 4. Say my rule.
Yes.
That's what this will. Of course, I know you might be thinking, so we have to use this was just a very simple example. Okay, later on we might have to use it in complicated cases. Is that clear? Where this kind of thing doesn't work. Okay. So that is multiplication. Next.
So what if we are getting 3 digits in multiplication? Then we have
3 digits, you mean 3 things, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What if you get 3? Good question. So suppose you get U, V and W. U, V and W. Then also the idea is similar. Do differentiation of one and write the others just like that. So it would be V into W into du by dx plus U into W into dV by dx plus U into V into dW by dx. Simple rule. Do differentiation of any one. बाकी बदले अपने multiply करना. Got it? Just multiply the other whatever there are. Just like that. Fine. Frankly, you will never need this in physics. Okay? But I am glad that you asked this kind of question. Curiosity, isn't it? What to do if there are 3? Yeah, similarly, you can do it in addition also, just in case someone is wondering. How would though? No problem. Take it term wise. You understand what I am saying? Take it term wise. It will be du by dx plus dv by dx minus dw by dx. Understood?
Yes.
Right? So, this is really quite simple. Okay?
Yes.
Did you want to write it? Number 4. Keep the constant, just differentiation of a constant is 0. Differentiation of constant is 0. That is dk by dx is equal to 0 if k is constant. Along John, don't forget this. If k is a constant, dk by dx is equal to 0. Both are same. This is in word and this is using a formula. However you do, you have to learn it in any way. What does this mean or why is it 0? Here I can give you a little bit of explanation. See, when we write dt or dx or anything, what this really means is a very small or infinitesimal change in t, that's time, or infinitesimal change in position. Yes or no?
Yes.
But what is the meaning of a constant? Constant is something that what's called a constant? What's the meaning of a constant? It will always remain the same. It never changes. That's called a constant. Yes or no?
Yes.
So then, do you realize that dk should always be 0? What's the meaning of dk? Small change in k. But k is a small change in constant. How much can be a change in constant? If I tell you that some value is constant, then you do final minus initial. But both are going to be same, so the difference will always be 0. Make sense?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
So dk will always be 0 and hence dk by dx is going to be 0. Okay, so differentiation of a constant is always 0. See, nobody is going to ask you the reason, but if you know the reason, you have better chance of remembering. Okay, so because k is a constant, that's why dk by dx is 0, because k never changes. Example, whenever you see any kind of number like this, for example d3 by dx, d3 by dx, differentiation of 3 with x or anything actually, not just x, t, y, z, no problem. This is always going to be 3 ની value change થાય, સ્ટેપ બજાર જેવું કોણ રીતે થાય, કાલે 3.1 પછી આજે 3 થઈ ગઈ, પછી કાલે 3.7 થઈ જશે. No, value of a number or a constant never changes. That's why it's differentiation. क्या देते ना? Sure. Number 5. Based on this, keep the constant out. Okay, keep the constant out. The rule is very nicely named because it does exactly that. So d by dx k into u into, we get plus nothing into k into u. So if k is a constant, then you can pick it out and do the rest of the process. Did you understand? Yes, no. What have we done? This k was multiplied with u, but k is a constant, u is not a constant. Okay, k is a constant and u is not a constant. So what do? We take the constant out. Write it outside and then just do it like you do using any of the other rules. Understood? Yes, no?
Yes.
Let's take an example quickly. So, for example, if someone says, what's the differentiation of 3x raised to 5? Okay, what's the differentiation of 3x raised to 5? So here, do you see this pattern? A. At k's place, what do we have? 3. 3 is a constant, yes or no?
Yes.
Just write it outside. And remaining just like that. Okay, it will not bother you, right? Oh, dive bar basis. Okay, so 3 dx raised to 5 by dx. What will you do? 3 into, I think the same as 3 into 5 x raised to 4. So 3 into 5, 15 x raised to 4. Did you understand?
Yes.
Okay or not okay?
Yes.
Here we use which rule? Rule number 1.
Yes.
It's outside very good. Rule number 1 is the most used rule. Okay. Next. Take example again. Suppose you want to find d by dx of minus 4 x raised to 2. Then what would be the answer? Again, 4 and minus 4 is obviously a constant, right? Okay. Any of others? Right? Yeah, some of what's your answer?
Minus 8x.
Minus 8
X.
x. Who agrees? Who disagrees? No one got a different answer? No one. That's right. Minus 4 outside first of all. Let me write the steps like this. Clear?
Yes.
And then what to do? Dx squared by dx is 2x. So minus 4 into 2x is going to be minus 8. Understood?
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Now let's just pause over here and I'm going to give you some practice questions. Okay, I'm erasing things on the left hand so that you get used to a little bit of differentiation. Actually, I think I'll give you one more rule that we might write it. What would be the number?
6.
This is 5. Now we go to 6. Dx by dx is what? This might seem like the easiest rule to everyone. Okay, dx by dx is what? Actually, it's not like they get cancelled or anything. It's that if you write dx raised to 1, then follow rule number 1. What is the rule number 1? It would be 1 x raised to 1 minus 1. Okay, so 1 into x raised to 0. X raised to 0 means 1. Anything raised to 0 is 1. Clear? So that's why this is 1. So dx by dx or dt by dt is always 1. Okay, anything like this where it's the same is going to be fine. Okay, and now some questions based on these rules. Okay, question 1. You just have to do differentiation like I am indicating here, nothing else. I changed the sign here. Please note. Okay. Add one last. I'm sure you all know these symbols. What that? Root, square root. And this one? Cube root. Okay. Do you also remember square root is how much power?
1 by
1 by 2 power. So this can also be written as x raised to 1 by 2. And this can be written as x raised to 1 by 3. So they follow the rule 1. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay? Fine. So that's it for this. Sorry, Meet.